You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alright, it's 6 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order, and open up for citizens' comments. Anybody wants to say? Okay, we'll jump to action items. Review, discussion, and possible action for order of cancellation of the May 3rd general election. This is a certification of unopposed candidates. It's just doing the formality side of it.
So I make a motion that we do the order of cancellation for the May 3rd general election.
A second.
Does that need to be worded a specific way, or, I mean, it's just verifying that everybody's not opposed, so. Okay, we have a motion from Cindy, a second from Dawn. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion carries. 3-2, review, discussion, possible action on VIP request for the new signage at Arnold's Family Restaurant. I think this was, tabled previously, cause he was, also an owner of a different business in town, but they are two separate entities.
I make a motion that we do the VIP for Arnold's.
Motion from Cindy,
A second.
second from Don. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
3-3, review, discussion, possible action on the water line solution going to Serenity. You wanna explain?
Okay,
Both. No. I meant to hand you one, I'm sorry.
so this is straight off of, I talked to, TCEQ called me, talked to Mark Ingram. Talked to y'all, I told y'all would like to reach out to him, y'all can call. He's out of Tyler. He's our local TCEQ. He's the one that is here. He's gonna be the one doing the inspection. He's the investigator, stuff like that. So anyway, just with everything down there, with all the pictures, I don't know if y'all been shown the pictures or anything, there's trees on top. When I mean trees, I mean there is a full-blown oak tree that's about 3.5 foot around that is on top of the line right now. That whole line is on top of the ground, probably 1,100 feet. I think it was 1,100 feet is what we wheeled off, what best we could in the runoff and the weeds and everything that's down there. So this is just right here, plain Jane off TCEQ's website. It says, water transmission distribution lines are being installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. However, the top of the water line must be located below the frost line, and in no case shall the top of the water line be less than 24 inches below ground surface. That is to protect the citizens from any possible contamination. That line bust right now, everything on the downflow side of that is getting, all that's gonna fill up, and it's gonna suck right in, it's gonna siphon right back in that pipe. There's already been homeless people taking a shower down there. The clothes are still hanging there. Y'all let anything happen. It doesn't matter. All that stuff coming off the highway goes right in there. There's already a valley in there because of the Center Point gas line. With the Center Point gas line being there, it's already it's a flood zone either way. So with that being said, something does happen, all that stuff's going in that pipe on one side. Now one side's gonna have full flow, so it's gonna fill up, and until we find it, it's still, then we have to flush it out. And there's stuff that's heavy. You take rocks, I mean anything. I mean, we hope we get it all out. But that line goes across the highway, it feeds different people. We kind of ran some simple math just on the way up here. The residual in the pipe is barely above the minimum that is passed for TCEQ. And that's barely. And that's because we have to leave the flush valve open. This is way before me. This is way before Jerry. This is way, I mean, this is years.
And it's only gonna get worse when the heat hits.
It gets way, well, I mean, everything starts baking. That's when your bacteria grows. your bacteria grows all the time, but when sun hits it, it just amplifies it. With that being said, whenever that happens, our residual, everything in that pipe is fine. So we ran some simple math just on this, and you take a gallon a minute out of that flush valve. Got what, 1,441 minutes in a day. Anyway, simple math, you're using close to 500,000. I think it was a little over.
Yeah.
That's a year, or was that a month? 525,000
gallons.
Y'all are a purchased
Just
water
running-
system.
Just running out on the ground, and that's if it's only at a gallon a minute. It may be, I mean, we could take a 5-gallon bucket down there, time it, and get it pretty accurate.
But
Yes, I mean,
that's a lot of water. And
and y'all are
there's-
paying for every penny of it.
yeah, that's to all the citizens.
And at the higher rate now because of that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And if we can get that buried, I'm not saying that that's gonna fix it completely. Y'all, I'm not gonna sit here and tell y'all that that is going to 210% fix it. But that is going to help
Maintain the residuals.
maintain the residuals a lot. And that is for the safety of all the customers of Lone Star. That's-
Speaking on adding to that, when they went from the original size, there was, from what I heard whenever I was come on, Shane would say that they had good residual down there, but they started fighting it whenever they went in and put the smaller 4-inch, on the stuff that was running top across ground in emergency.
Your flow's restricted.
Yeah, I mean,
You
maybe
go-
when you put that 6-inch back down in there and bury it, do it all the right way.
That's also why you're losing pressure across the street. Like whenever we have to flush or something happens, like Jerry said, when something happens, the people across the highway, they call, they're like, hey, our water pressure's gone. Well, that's because we're restricted down to a 4-inch, for 1,100 feet. You already down there, you already have 4 or 5 repairs that are just barrels laying on top of the ground. Eventually, them are still barrels. They're gonna rust through. I mean, that's gonna happen.
So what's the deal with TCEQ calling?
So well, they know about it.
Did
We're already in,
investigator in?
yeah, we're already in the spotlight. Somebody has reached out, which you can't blame them. I mean, citizens of Lone Star, they want to make sure. I mean, nobody can sit here. If I was in Pittsburgh and we had it, I'd call too. I mean, they're already in and out. TCQ come up here while me and Jerry were in the office just 2 weeks ago. Now, it wasn't about that, but all that takes is, I mean, he could have been the one that seen it. There's no telling. Right now, there's no leaves on the trees. There's nothing. I mean, it's wide open and it looks like a Christmas tree down there. So, that being said, I told him we're doing our best, and he completely understands, like, we are doing our best to get there. And,
Have
I
they
mean-
given us a time limit as to when it needs to be?
he said he said this right here. This is exactly what he said. He said all the information you need is in this package.
Right.
So
I just didn't know if he had said it had to be fixed within.
no, ma'am, he did not.
30
He did not
days.
give us a time limit. But what's going to get us is TCEQ comes. If somebody calls and complains, TCEQ comes and they're going to check without any of us knowing. They don't have to notify us.
Right.
They go and they check. Well, if they go and they check and there's no residual, which is going to happen whenever that line starts cooking. If they go and they check and there's no residual, then that comes back on me, which is eventually, that it's a downhill slope from there. And then I have to explain, well, we have no residual at the end of the line, why not? Well, I've put this to the attention, this has been addressed, but we haven't done anything about it, and then they're gonna come here. And then we're in that whole situation with that.
But that's, we had a brother-in-law with the TCEQ situation.
Yes, ma'am.
They came and made a public visit and they gave him X number of days.
Well, he didn't, so
Fixed by his own line.
TCEQ is happy, like very happy, as of right now. With everything that we've done, trying to get into compliance, paying them, getting everything caught back up and where it needs to be. Paperwork that previous employees did not leave. I mean, that has nothing to do with current at all, but we're supposed to keep that documented. And with that being said, we're making new paperwork for Jerry and us. We'll keep it, y'all keep it, and y'all have that. It'll all be up. Your sample sites, it's just like the sample stations. I mean, they are very happy with us, what we're doing. I mean, because we're catching up with times.
Being proactive.
We are being proactive and we're not just sitting neutral with a problem that we know is there and not acting on it.
And on top of that, we did, we got, that's not even with Fish and Supply Serenity with the water. It would be another plus going in the ground with a 6-inch line being down there since we got them fire hydrants that we gotta cover.
Yeah, we would, I was about to say,
Because, I mean, I'm still thinking there's gonna be an issue when we fire up water down there and open that dead end flush. We're gonna have to make this 2-inch line that goes under the highway at least a 3-inch. Or it's not gonna, there's still gonna be some,
yeah, depending on the amount of water that Serenity uses whenever, especially when the houses get there, it's gonna depend if
future
you're gonna
problems.
have to, you may possibly have to up your line size across the street. And that's just because of the fact that wasn't there. Now when the hospital was there, it was a full loop system. It come all the way back around. It doesn't do that anymore.
and they're fixing to build homes on top of that hill.
Right.
We should consider disconnecting the line that goes under the road. They got free water for like 20 years, from my understanding. We should just disconnect that one and let them dig a well.
The two that's on the highway out there on, what do they call that?
34.1.
Yeah, they
That's-
never paid. That line just ended up there somehow. We don't know the
I
That's
history.
think they
something that
paid, but I think
y'all-
they got minimal.
I don't think they paid a dime for like 20 years.
Well,
I
they,
know that when
check
that
the bill.
storm
we
happened,
didn't check the billing on that because I think our meter, it should pick up, cause, I mean,
I know when the
We
storm
may be
happened
doing
and
that.
Gatlin was here,
so I don't
they had
know.
called in and Gatlin had made the comment that he's like, I didn't even know that we had people out there, but I think it was just automatically billing like the minimum, is what I think. So,
My-
yes.
Yeah,
My
look,
understanding and my investigation was they hadn't paid anything for years.
And I
Nobody knew it was there.
well,
I
that
don't
would
know.
save a boring job under the highway that,
Well,
Yeah.
and
I
all we
mean,
have to
I'd
do
hate
is
to
just,
cut somebody's water off, but
we give them plenty of lead time and say, hey, we can't run this. Why would we spend a chunk of money to bore a new line over there when they're not in our city limits, they're not in our certificated service area? There's no reason for us, the citizens, to eat that cost.
And it's like 2 homes?
it's 2 homes.
I don't know that.
It's
Oh.
2 homes and it's 2 meters and the meter's down off the side of the highway and it runs probably all the way across his pasture to back over to that highway over there. It's ridiculous amount of pipe that's in the ground from our meter to there, but that's all would be on him, but I get what you're saying. I mean, it took me 3 hours in the middle of the night to find them meters. I was like, wow, we got meters over here. I didn't even know, I wouldn't have. Shane
You
never
say they're
even told
fixing to
us.
build
there was-
homes at the old hospital?
Yes, ma'am. I got
That
pictures
are
of
way
the old
outside of our
hospital.
city limits?
That's
They should probably tie into Buck County, though, I would think.
Buy
Well,
County's not gonna fit across the lake.
That's not our problem.
We
They-
should not agree to put more water line in.
Absolutely agree
well,
with you, Keith.
they're completely cut off from their system right now. Because when we got there, we done left.
Yeah, well, and I think when Dusty had the engineering study done, it said that our infrastructure couldn't handle any more than like 75 more houses, and his Serenity division's gonna take up a big
20,
chunk of that. We're not gonna
yeah.
be able to support
He's
that.
saying 29, and then when the other cul-de-sacs built, it'd be 31.
Mhm. See?
So I've got 2 parts to this that I'd like to make comments on. First off, when we were doing budgeting, I repeated over and over and over in multiple meetings that we either assign ARPA money to this project or buy all the toys that everybody wanted, the backhoe or the Mini X and all that others, the tractor and all that. This council just kept saying, no, 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 and they bought all the stuff, and we never put this in the budget to do. Now, second, it is up to the contractor that we reach out to do their due diligence and check to make everything was done legit. If this is not done legit, they could potentially not get paid, and that's their problem, whoever the contractor is, because legally their responsibility to check on it. I'd say if we spend this money, there's likely to be a lawsuit that's gonna cost the citizens a lot of money.
Because of.
Because we
not
didn't
doing
put it
it.
in the budget. It's not budgeted for, we can't do it.
We still have ARPA funds that are sitting out
But
there.
we didn't budget it. You can't spend, it doesn't matter how much money you have to budget, because that's what the citizens see when we say, this is what we're gonna spend your money for.
Well, wasn't that, wasn't the line gonna be paid for ARPA with ARPA funds?
It doesn't matter where the payment comes from.
Well,
It matters we have to
what
budget.
matters is, I've heard you sit here and say, this is where this ARPA money ought to go, am I right?
Yes, I said if we
And-
were gonna fix the line, we
and-
should spend the ARPA money on it.
Well,
we
the ARPA
allocated it
money's
to
being
Public
spent on the
Works.
line, I don't
We allocated
understand.
the rest of it to Public Works.
Well, my feelings are that we didn't budget for this project.
And how do you
Right.
handle emergency situations where TCEQ is fixing to come in here and start fining us because it's,
Every
When we have
month.
CDs and stuff?
how do you handle that
I'm
whenever?
not gonna sit and debate it, I'm just
Well, I'm asking
stating,
a question.
No,
I'm
we all were
asking,
asking, 'cause
how do you handle emergency situations whenever we're fixing to start getting fined for it?
I don't think it's an emergency.
I don't,
You can't put a price on citizens' health, plain Jane.
So what if we
Let's
get
put $1 billion
$25,000
on everything.
You can't.
There's no, we can't stream safety every time we wanna blow a bunch of money.
Well, it's not wanting to blow a bunch of money, it's wanting to stay in
Well,
compliance.
Okay, you guys vote how you want,
I,
this is wrong and we shouldn't do it. Because we had our opportunity to budget for it and everybody said, nope, we wanna buy a bunch of other stuff.
But we allocated the rest of it to Public Works, which is this infrastructure that's related to water, which is Public
Well,
Works.
Then do what you think is right.
I mean, I don't want to deal with Serenity at all, but that was a
That's
thing that was
another
done
option.
before us.
That's another option.
Can we be sued? if
We agreed
Don't do the
To
contract?
provide them with water.
Well, you can be sued for anything, but I don't believe we have a legal responsibility other than a couple of meetings ago where we agreed to take ownership of the pipes. That's a problem. That could bite us, but
And provide them with water.
that was not a contract that we couldn't, it wasn't a contract, it was an agreement that wasn't necessarily binding. We've had all these discussions and I don't wanna rehash it over and over. I've tried to fix this problem and you guys do what you gotta do.
That's what I'm not understanding.
Do we know how much money we have left in our
There is, there's 126,000 grant, there's 87,000 left in ARPA funds, so we covered the majority.
87,000? I guess at the end of the day, we've already committed, we've gotta fix it, we've gotta be in compliance.
Not true.
Excuse me? We just-
It's not true. We aren't committed, we don't have to.
So who is
there's been a contract
TCEQ
signed,
gonna?
right? There's been a contract signed to supply them 2,000 gallons a house. If I'm not mistaken, that was the exact number, 2,000 is a minimum anyway, so.
I mean, if we're not responsible, and I mean, I'm just asking these questions, Keith, like, if we're not responsible, then if TCEQ comes and fines, are we gonna get the fine?
Yes.
Well, like somebody said, is that, we're obligated. No, we're not. We could just cap the thing off and be done with it.
When we've had verbal contracts
Wait.
prior to this board, we've sent signed contracts saying we're gonna supply the water.
Verbal
We've
contracts mean
signed,
nothing in a
okay,
city.
but I'm just saying, that's how this come along. And then we've sent signed contracts saying we supply them with water, signed contracts saying we take over the water lines. We've done all these, whether it be verbal contracts and physical contracts, we've done all the things, and we can't just go back and say, and now we're gonna pull the plug and not do any of it,
Cause that's where we're gonna get sued.
Yeah,
when,
you ain't lying.
Do what you guys gotta do. I'm bringing it up because that's my responsibility as a
Well, we're
council
asking,
member.
you know, I mean, your opinion, I mean, that's what we're.
Oh, yeah, we're just, I'm
That's
trying to
That's what I'm saying.
understand.
I'm
is
one
my-
council member, you guys can do what you gotta do.
But your solution is just to pull out all the contracts, that's the only solution that you're bringing to the table, is just to say, cap them off and not provide them with water. Do you have a different solution?
That is a solution. Now, the solution would be to come back, next budget year and budget for this pipe to be replaced and tell TECQ that that's what we're doing.
Yeah, but
But
Which is a
it's-
year.
your
8
residual,
months.
you don't, unless you keep that flush valve running, you are not above a minimum residual.
So that's gonna put us at.
So we're
500.
paying 5
Period.
million for
That's gonna
the,
put us at-
500,000.
right, so we're paying for
We were dumping
500,000.
6,000 gallons per month previously, costing us $1,025, I believe, previous years.
How did y'all measure that?
I don't know. That was when I asked our previous.
Yeah, there's,
We've
We've
there's,
already determined there was inadequate flushing going on at that time as
Yes.
well.
So if we pull the contract and we get
It's not a
sued
contract, it's an
for,
agreement.
okay, the agreement, so if we pull the agreement and we get sued, is that gonna cost us more than what this is gonna cost us?
No.
I mean, cause he's probably gonna sue us for every line he put in the ground up there.
Well, they're all
Everything he's
ours.
done,
Oh, that's ours.
only cause he gave it to us.
It's signed.
I know, but I'm
Signed,
saying
sealed,
if
delivered.
if we
He can't
pull it,
read, he can't say, you know,
what I'm
Anybody
saying
can
is
sue
if
over
we
anything,
pull
it
it
doesn't
and he
mean they'll
sues
win.
us, he's gonna sue us for every dime he's put in up there.
yeah.
Is that gonna cost more than what this is gonna
oh,
cost? Cause I guarantee he's gonna sue us for 300-500 million. I'm at 1,000 million, whatever this is, whatever them numbers is.
I don't know. I just hope
Hush.
he don't.
Harlton has their own dictionary and calculator. But you know what I'm
But-
saying?
Needless to say, back to the issue at hand,
500,000.
the line, if, as it stands right now, that line's, I mean, it needs to be buried the proper way. If we're gonna supply them with water, it needs to be proper.
No, I
I
totally
mean,
agree with that.
Cause every week, I
If we're
mean,
gonna
if
supply
you-
them
next
water,
year,
it
budget
definitely-
year, that's another, if you did a year from the day, that's 12. So you're looking at 12 months that you can get fined every month if you don't have it in the ground.
And if
Unless
somebody gets
TCEQ
sick, it's
says,
gonna be
oh,
worse.
you know, cause it's there, it's gotta be buried for a reason.
Well, it should
I
have been
don't
buried
think they'll
whenever the
give me
emergency
a year.
situation happened. It should have only been up there for 3 or 4
I
days.
highly
It should
doubt
have been buried
they'll give me
then.
a year.
I don't know why it's been sitting up there all this time.
y'all have a storm coming in tonight.
Yeah.
We're gonna be having them in springtime. Anybody can walk down there, I can show y'all a picture right now
It's horrible.
of,
It's
it is a
embarrassing.
group of trees, not just one. They are on top, that is PVC pipe.
It's gonna bust.
It's going to bust.
And then we
Now,
can't
whether
fix
y'all
it
bury
because there's
it-
a tree in the way.
There is no fixing it once, the only way to fix it, once it does bust, is go around it. If you go around it, you're in the high line right away. If you go around it the other way,
Yeah,
there's still
yes.
trees. They're gonna have to be cleared, you're in the center point right away.
We have no
We can't be in either one of them.
It's gotta be buried, I mean.
I mean,
Because when that job gets done, then all of that's gonna be cleared out. I mean, it'd be accessible. It ain't really even accessible right now to even repair.
well, and,
No, I-
and 20 years ago, that line, 30 years ago, that line was probably under. I mean, it was
It was,
probably
there's a
buried.
line, yeah, there's a line in the ground there.
It just, over
I
the
don't know
time, I
why
mean,
they
it's in the
just
flood
laid it
zone.
on top of the
It-
ground, but.
And so far, we only have 2 bids instead of 3.
know what? He had
I've
a
had
third
KSA,
And then another-
KSA was supposed to, when we was, it was been a while ago whenever they was talking about, it got first brought up. I reached out to KSA as another contractor, that, which is an engineer, they're gonna send out an engineer, but it's 2 months, 3 months later, they still haven't, so
The
I called
last
them back
time-
and they said, well, we need time to get an engineer and,
The
So-
last time this was on the agenda too, you had, I think there was 2 more bids. There was one for like 140 something
It was
thousand.
147,000 something, so 147 something.
So we had several bids, but he was trying to follow up with somebody else to get different bids this go around as well.
That's one.
and I,
So, back to the public safety. Every one of us sitting here turns our tap on.
Affects
ma'am.
everyone else.
So, the risk to public health with the way it is right now is what?
it's a great risk.
I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, you've got any kind of bacteria growth, you've got bacteria growth, which does happen. I mean, that y'all, it's in this packet also. You have bacteria growth that happens. Not only that, you have the risk of the line busting, and it will bust. It is going to bust. Whenever it does, everything is getting back siphoned into that pipe. Yes, you
Which
can
goes-
flush out. That's not saying that you're gonna get everything out.
So, that being said, the way the line is now, I don't know anything about anything other than this statement. What if we cap it, stop all of the water loss, preserve the integrity and the safety of the water for everybody in the city that gets water from the city? Then we can develop a plan moving forward of how to proceed. Because is it an emergency right now that we make the pipe and lay the pipe down and get it all connected? There's not even a house out there. I think our safety of our citizens,
That line does supply houses.
Yes, ma'am, it's like
Yes, ma'am.
two
so
houses.
those two houses.
And then you got the people down the
Actually,
county
yes,
road also.
two houses on this side of the highway, and ours at the end of 22-8, which is 4 houses.
So 6 homes.
And there's been one tap paid for Serenity.
He was just waiting on the contract that we were.
I have to get a good construction sample at the flush
Right.
before I'll give them a tap.
We can't tap a meter until we get a cleared back the construction sample off of it.
But it already does supply people with water.
And we will keep whenever, or if we were to do it the way we presented it was, we will keep everybody in service when we do this. This is not gonna be cutting everybody off. We will keep them in service. We will put two flush valves while we replace this section of line on the, just say, north side of the creek, one on the south side of the creek. Vice versa, we'll do them in sections. That way everybody stays within water while we're,
Minimal interruptions,
It'll-
we'll build a temporary bypass pretty much is what we'll do. Yes, ma'am.
So is there an in-between point? Is it from where we are now to doing the whole thing as proposed? Is there middle
that's,
ground
that's
somewhere?
that is what is in, that's what's on top of the ground. That's what's under the tree, that's what's on top of the
So
ground.
that line that's on top of the ground,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just trying to understand.
I
That
got
is-
some pictures if you'd
That
like
is
to see.
actually feeding those
Awesome.
6 homes.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
There's no way to chunk it out the way it's feeding in. Yes, ma'am. I think that's what you're asking is there's no
Yeah.
way to, the way it feeds in, that's your farthest point that's bad. So you have to replace the whole line to get to where you're feeding into those residential homes. They're at the end of the line that needs to be repaired. I guess is the best way to put it.
So those lines that are feeding those homes, are they 6-inch as well?
Well, on the county road is 2-inch, but it's 6-inch all the way across the Serenity, and then it's 2-inch going across the highway also.
Yeah.
Right now. So we're 6-inch, you're 6-inch all the way up to 2208.
Which is that big flush house.
Which is the big flush house. And from the flush house, from where the flush house is, you have a valve that's going down 2208, and then you have a valve that's going across the highway and under feeding the houses
And
across.
those are both 2-inch, correct?
Yes, those are
Yeah,
both
yeah.
2-inch.
Yes, ma'am.
And
So-
you got a 2-inch tap on the south side of the road that services the 4 houses at the end.
Okay.
And it's okay for them to be a 2-inch line, but we have to have a 6-inch going to Serenity.
Due to flow of water, flow volume, and the fire hydrant.
We don't have fire hydrants out there on 3421.
No, there's
We are
fire
responsible
hydrants at
for that.
Serenity.
Yeah, but I'm saying on the one that's got the 2-inch line, there's no fire hydrants on it.
No, ma'am.
You just you have a flush valve at the end.
But the Serenity has to have the 6-inch to
Because of
supply
the-
the proper volume and
Because I understand what Keith is saying, because that's a lot of funds. But I also realize that this council is not the one who went into the agreement with Serenity. And I'm worried that if we break the agreement,
What are the ramifications?
money-wise, more so on our taxpayers for being sued if we were to lose.
And still.
Not to mention.
That's what I'm worried about.
Not to
Which
mention,
is
we
the lesser
already,
of the two evils.
and we're already feeding people water off of that line that the residuals are not up to.
Yeah.
I
You're,
understand.
you're at minimum standards right now.
Yeah.
And
That's because we have been
all
working
flushing
very, very
done.
hard. I mean,
And dumping a
Jerry
lot
and
of water,
Fudge and
dumping a lot
us
of water.
You know,
also.
it's, you know, we're at that point that we're just not sick yet.
Oh, that's my concern, Keith. I'm worried about a lawsuit.
I mean,
Will
right
it
here,
cost us more
right here
to
on
break
number
the
9,
agreement or
and,
contract
sorry.
than the money that we have to allocate to fix a 6-inch line, like 900 square feet?
Yeah, right here on number 9, it says the contractor shall not place the pipe in the water where it can be flooded with water or
Yeah.
sewage during its storage or installation.
And it sits in flooded water all the time.
I mean, you're in flooded water 90% of the time.
Hey, Bo, can I see the pictures you're talking about, please?
Yeah,
And
it's,
he's donated all the line, enough line to. be
we have the material to do the job.
So we don't have to pay for the 900 feet of line, just the installation.
Just
This
installation.
is the
Which
6
is
inch,
gonna-
this is a repair right now. That goes from ductile to C900 with 2 clamps. That's a foot difference, which you can't really tell, but this is all the other pipes and everything that's laying on top of the ground also with that. That's on the side with the well house. Here's flooded water right here. Your line, you can't see it,
But it's in there.
it's in here.
There's the tree. So mosquito infested water.
Oh, it's bad. Here's the trees. Right here, if you can. So, that is on top of. You're one storm away from it breaking, and, I mean, it's up to y'all's choice, and we did the best we could to
Get the residuals back.
get the residuals back up. The thing is they're gonna keep dropping.
The hotter it gets, the it worse.
The hotter it gets, that's whenever it starts baking, that's when it really, I mean,
It's no
it,
different than the hydro in the lake. When
That's
it's
exactly
hot, the
right.
Bacteria grows.
it gets stagnated.
Yeah.
There's not, I mean, there is houses on there, but it's not like there's a whole
Enough to
bunch
keep
of
that line
houses.
flushed.
And
And you worked for Serenity?
I did not work for Serenity, I was contracted to Serenity.
By Serenity.
Yes, sir.
I don't think the city can afford a fine every month from TCEQ.
And sick
And I-
residents.
And I can't tell you when the fines will come, I can't tell you any of that, because I will never know, that will be y'all. They're gonna contact the city, they're not gonna tell me. That's, you know,
Well, and when, I mean, even
I
when
just-
Shane was here, this is part of what, I mean, like Keith said, this is what those funds were initially gonna be allocated for, and then we had people in the office that seemed to think that that was not the case, and we didn't have to utilize all that. Well, it's come back around, and now we do. It is a requirement, it was a known requirement then, it's a known requirement now. I mean, and that just to prove, what I believe Cody was trying to make one of us,
Oh,
he
and I-
was trying to buy Serenity, but that conversation and that needing to happen was done way before we even looked at you as our water.
Yeah.
right.
Them lines actually sit in the ground out there for 3 years.
I was about to say, I didn't even show y'all the pictures if y'all would like to see them.
I
I've walked
see.
on it, I know what it is.
Okay, okay.
So. I think it just got put on the back burner until we become under fire by TCEQ, and now we've got to continue to be proactive before we get ourselves in a bind.
And we have copies of this agreement that we have with Serenity.
Yes.
And this will get us in compliance with that agreement.
Yeah.
Doing these things,
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
because I'm just reading about it.
the agreement now.
No, you're,
We're not compliant. TECQ is not gonna like the line on top of the ground, but as far as the agreement goes, we're in compliance with.
We're in
the
compliance with
agreement.
Serenity, we're not in compliance with the state.
you're not in
You're not in
compliance with a fire
compliance
hydrant.
We're not with fire, yeah.
Fire hydrant, it's
We've
not
gotta
gonna
up
give
the
you-
line
you
size
can
back
put
to
a
6
tester on
inch.
that fire hydrant, that 4-inch line, it will not tell you it's got enough, it's got a 6-inch line hooked to it, it doesn't
But
know.
you argued with me when I said that the 4-inch line wasn't gonna be good enough and that the 6
Because the 4 inch is not good
required,
enough.
and you said, oh, I think the 4 will handle it. But now you're telling me the 4 is not good enough.
I don't think I said the 4 would handle it. If the state says it's gotta have
State
6,
says
it's gotta
6
say
for a
6,
fire
it
hydrant.
don't matter what I say.
That was my argument when I was saying we shouldn't take possession of the lines, was because we would then be required to upgrade the lines that we didn't have budgeted. And everybody said, no, 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 I think it's fine. We should go ahead and take possession of those lines, even with the 4-inch line on the ground.
Because we had already agreed to supply them with water.
But isn't that y'all's line already?
That's, my argument was if we're gonna take possession, then we should probably take the fire hydrants out so that we don't have the legal requirement to bring them flow up.
Well, that's a whole nother issue for another time, because they're HOA now, they got a gated community going on out there. I mean, it's a whole different,
Well,
I mean,
They're out of a certificated service area.
what's
Where
it?
a certificated service area is where we're legally obligated to provide water and sewer. They're outside of it, as well as the other 6 houses. No obligation.
Okay, that's,
So that'll
that's,
be in the
that's
case that
before
I
my
go
time
back
there,
to
partner, I don't,
But we've already signed all the agreements saying that we were.
Now, how long have we been supplying water to those 6 houses that are out there? I wouldn't wanna cut them off.
30 or 40
30
years.
years? Yeah, I wouldn't wanna cut them off.
I'm just saying it
They all
out.
have wells.
Huh?
They all have wells.
Working wells?
They stupidly cut them off. It's my family, all of them were originally, we had wells.
we could give them a lead time of, you've got so much time to get your well back up. and running.
But then you still deal with the fact that
Either way,
Is the Serenity agreement the agreement with the water district?
we have an agreement with the water district, we have an agreement with the Serenity and the city of Lone Star.
There's a contract with the water district, but there's an agreement with Serenity.
And Serenity is not a party to the contract with the water district in Fort Dodge.
So we have 87,000 left in ARPA, and you said 126 left of grant money?
There's 87 or 89 left in ARPA.
I'm sorry,
So
so
there's 87 or 89 left in ARPA meetings.
Are you sure I will?
now out of the, because we've already, obligated the money for the generators and things like that out of the ARPA money, so that doesn't,
is that right?
I don't know what's already been purchased and what's out there as far as what's lingering, so that's, I just checked the accounts. That's what I did for them there. So, but
either way.
So, let me, okay, I need to ask you a question real quick. So, say that we get other estimates in or whatever, and we go with one of these other estimates, how does that work as far as your water license goes?
They're working under my water license. So.
So we're gonna be paying you either way?
You're still gonna be paying me to sit out there and then inspect it. If you call KSA, KSA is gonna send an engineer, which is fine, they're gonna come engineer it, they're gonna send it out to bid, because KSA is not a contractor. They're just an engineering firm.
Okay.
They take it, they shoot it out to a bunch, they put it on a form and they go out there, people bid
They
on
get
it.
contractors.
Then they send an inspector out. Now you're gonna have me and another inspector.
Okay.
But regardless, yes, they would be working under my license at that point because I am the one that y'all contracted to.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I
Yes, ma'am.
understood everything.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Corey, get ready to word this.
okay.
So I make a motion that we go with Rafter Services to take care of the what's that, Serenity problem, 6-inch water line, the line's above ground.
It's always been above ground.
What'd you say?
I don't know, I'm not saying, it may have always been above ground,
Just go ahead.
but that's not right, still not. That doesn't make it right.
It's not,
Cap it off.
well, that's a whole different, council meeting.
Whether it be, out of
What are you gonna do to
ARPA
Aunt
money.
Betty, cut her water off?
grant money. Cash in of a city. I made that motion.
Can you repeat
A
that?
motion from Cindy.
I got it. Okay, you ever, Richie?
Yes, please.
Cindy makes a motion to go with Raptor Services for the 6-inch water lines above ground. Into
That are above ground.
That are. And to bring us into compliance, whether it be out of ARPA money, grant money, or cash in of a CD. So I did the math while we were talking. So with the 126,000, with the 87,000 together, brings us to 212,000. Let's say we went with this, with the 115, the 155, 698, it would leave us a remaining of $56,302. That's what I was just calculating. If we were to use the ARPA and grant money.
But I left it open.
Yeah.
to
I
where
just want to put that out there, but
I put those three because we gotta go back and see exactly what else has been
Allocated already.
allocated already.
Who knows? It's on that list.
That gives us the ARPA money, the grant money, and or to cash a CD if we have to get it taken care of.
Okay, we got a motion from Cindy.
I'll say.
A second from Dawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against?
Okay.
4-0, motion carries.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.